You know, like they're like, could you fax me that offer? Fax you the offer? What year is it? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like, what planet are you from? Email it to me. I want to DocuSign. Bam, done, right? Technology. But if you struggle with that, if you're still opening up your phone and you don't know what a text message is, you're addicted to the past. You with me? But how many of you know somebody that peaked in high school? You guys know what I'm talking about? And now they're like 55, and they're still talking about it. When I was a cheerleader, you're like, you now weigh 375 pounds. Like, whoa, slow down. The reality is this, you know what? Here's what I get. The past is safe. Do you get that? The past is safe. Ruth, why do we go to the past? Because the past is very safe. We know the plot, we know the story, we know the punchline, we know how it all works out. So we'll spend our time in the past because it's very safe. But if I said to you, write a plan to make $1 million in the next 12 months, it's risky. Do you guys get that? But we're talking about living at level 10, operating at a level that is so much greater than most people are operating at today. What kills it? The addiction to the past, the addiction to drama, and the addiction to the opinions of others. But the big one, you ready? Number four, you guys ready? Turn to your buddy and say, this one is you, babe. You ready? The addiction to worry. Yes. Okay, right or wrong, guys. Remember I started this by saying, what kills your performance? What stops you? Who has been woken up by the real estate god at 3 o'clock in the morning? Good morning. Your escrow's falling apart tomorrow. And there's nothing you can do. Yes, you know, the one escrow you have. Have a good night's sleep. And they flutter off, right? Right or wrong, guys? And then what do you do the next 24, 48 hours, or 7 weeks? You worry, you freak out. And by the way, what's funny is because I do a lot of research on this, and I got a piece in the Huffington Post in 2 weeks on this. And they're expecting about 100,000 people to take this survey to see which of these addictions they're facing with. And the editors are like, worry is a woman thing. I'm like, oh, no. Worry is a human being thing. By the way, did any of those slides help addiction number 4? So they're like, oh shit, we're screwed. That's the reality. So, Dave, I'm actually doing it. I think I might be done in 10 minutes. This is good. Okay, no more laughing. Okay. Can I just tell you 2 things to do?
Yes.
But first, could you tell your buddy, ready? 4 addictions. Addiction to the opinions of others. The addiction to drama. The addiction to the past. The addiction to worry. Tell your buddy, honestly, which one stops you from going for it? Do you know what I mean? From really going for it. Tell your buddy, which one stops you? Be honest, tell your buddy. Now, more importantly, how many of you have someone you love that's clearly suffering from one of the 4 addictions? Yeah. Okay. How many of you have adult children? I was in New York City last week, and a gal, she says, will you sign this book? And I go, yeah. It was kind of a surreal moment because it was in my vision board to sign books in New York City, and I did that and crossed it off my list, right? This gal walks up and she said, you described me perfectly. I have a 35-year-old son who is still living on everything I'm doing. He just won't take responsibility for his life. Will this book help? I said, if you hit him hard with it, grow up, read this, right? So I want to challenge you all. 2 things I recommend you do. 2 things that, listen, I suffer from the 4 addictions. My children deal with it. David and I have had this conversation. We all deal with it. It's at what level we can suppress the 4 addictions and keep playing big. Does that make sense? To not be stopped by the circumstances of life, to not be stopped about airplanes hitting towers, but to instead keep dreaming, keep thriving, keep moving forward no matter what. Does that make sense? And if you don't like soccer, screw soccer. Does that make sense? Read more books. Let's go to Barnes & Noble. He says, Daddy, can I get a Kindle? I said, get a job, right? And he said, okay. He's 11, don't push it, right? But you know what? Here's the 2 things. You don't even have to write them down. Number 1, exercise for 5 minutes every day, for as long as you're alive. 5 minutes every day. What should I do? Anything. Walk, right? Walk. Push-ups, sit-ups, crunches. Remember these? Remember these? Backwards, big ones. They actually work. This is good. 5 minutes a day. You'll have a nice little shoulder burn, you'll feel it, it's all good. But why? When you exercise, how do you feel? Better. Oh, when you feel better, how do you perform? Better. And what kind of results do you get? Exercise 5 minutes every day. And then you can work it up from there. Does that make sense? Second thing you gotta do every day, RGD. RGD. You gotta release, you gotta get grateful, and you gotta declare what you want. If you're gonna live and work by design, you got to constantly be letting go of the past. The client that got away, the deal that fell apart, the past client that called their best friend and not you enlisted. Look up here, guys. Do we have a tendency to hold on to the past, yes or no? Yes. And by the way, like Wayne Dyer, I love it. Wayne says, in life we all get squeezed. Buyers squeeze us, sellers squeeze us, your spouse hopefully squeezes you, right? You're always getting squeezed. The question is, when you get squeezed, what comes out? Love. You with me? So if you're suppressing and holding on to the deal that got away, the angry client, the commission check that went awry, the marketing plan that didn't work, if you're holding on to all that stuff, guess what? When you get squeezed, guess what comes out?
Well, thank you.
Right? You got any agents like that? You walk by, you're like, hey, how you doing? Screw you! Oh, okay. Here's Tom Ferry's book you should read, right? So the first thing is, what do you need to let go of every day? What do you need to release? Second thing is, what are you grateful for? What are you grateful for? What is great about your life? What is working in your business? What are you happy about? And when you do that, how do you feel?
Better.
And how do you perform?
Better.
Does anybody get the cycle here? When you feel good, you perform better? So you exercise every day, you write down what you got to release, you write down what you're grateful for, and then you write down your top 10 goals. Everybody write down right now somewhere, just your top 3 goals. Right now, top 3 goals in life, top 3. Let me see if I can guess what they are. Top 3 goals. Most important, top 3. I don't have any. Write something down, see what your neighbor wrote, steal it. Top 3. Real quick. Top 3 goals. Top 3 goals, you got them? Okay, you ready? Let me guess. One of them had to do with money. Surprise. I hope one had to do with relationships. Yeah? Okay, and one probably had something to do with health. Can I tell you why? Okay, after dealing with 250,000 people and doing 20,000 hours of coaching, when people say to me, what does it mean to live your life by design? I say, you're living your life by your terms, your desire, physically, financially, and in your relationships. And if you can master those 3, everything else gets easier. Does that make sense?